Ball fake. Floated for Durant. Back in. Durant. Jumper. Doesn't go. Tippett does with .7. O'Neal crashing the glass. The Nets go in front. 109 to 107. Trying to hold on. Lob it towards the rim. It's poked away and it's over. They are going to check the clock. Lillard lob it up, knock away, and the Nets get it done the Brooklyn way.
This is nothing but that sports talk. That's a crazy win for the Brooklyn Nets, courtesy of a tip by Royce O'Neal. As I welcome to this episode of Nothing But That Sports Talk, Rafique Louison, Ryan Walker on hand, and of course I already mentioned it. What are your thoughts on the Brooklyn Nets win over the Portland Trail Blazers as they end the 4-game road trip on 2-2, redeeming themselves after they smoked in Sac Town?
Yeah, they got blasted. Good win for them. Hey, Royce is playing good basketball for them. Good quality win. Good tip, and he's a nice role player for what they're doing. So that's definitely a way to end the road trip. Both New York teams, respectively, on West Coast swings. Yeah, that Sacramento game didn't look too. That's not one you want to draw. Bring the video back up on and figure out what happened wrong and right there, because that one was really bad. Sacramento's also a very upcoming team too, with Mike Woodson down there and the kids, and he's working very well with those guys, so their future will eventually be bright. But that was a very good win tonight on a West Coast swing. It's always hard to win on the West Coast anytime you make that trip, and vice versa too. So good win for them, good way to end the road trip, and that'll bring them back home sometime soon to get some home cooking. And it's so crazy, they've actually been playing solid basketball without Ka, being back. So who knows what they're gonna make decisions with that in the future. I don't know how. Hopefully he does, but I don't know how promising it seems that Kyrie Irving will be back as a Brooklyn Net. Who knows? But nevertheless, just the basketball. Royce O'Neal, big play, big tap in, and it's always good after the final game on the road trip. It's a better flight back home with a win than it is with a loss.
Exactly, because look at the teams they lost to. They lost to the Sacramento Kings, as I mentioned earlier. Not only get lose, they get smoked, giving up like 153 points. That's the most Brooklyn's ever given up. Oh yeah, there's also a loss against the Lakers a couple games before, but yeah, this is a very. I mean, 2-2. Well, considering the way the Nets start, they'll take it, and they'll be coming on to play some Memphis Grizzlies in a game where Kyrie Irving is expected to be cleared after being suspended due to the anti-Anthonyism situation.
Right, the anti-Semitism comments. We'll see what happens. I thought he's been out longer than 5 games. Hasn't he been out longer than 5?
Yeah, he has. He said expected to miss the entire road trip. But you know what? At the very least, he's coming back this weekend. I expect Brooklyn to turn things around. And Kevin Durant, for literally the 20th consecutive game, he had at least 25 points. That just goes to show how good the guy is, even playing on a team that's literally below average at best.
We know what Kevin brings to the table. So he's a phenomenal player, and you just hope that at one point during this season that everybody can figure out and get everything on the same page. Shout out to Jacques Vaughn for doing such a really good job based off the environment and what's going on. But you just hope that they just all can get locked in and all on the same page, regardless of who's going to be all the 12 players there, and they could just have a time to just concentrate on basketball and not worry about everything else outside of basketball.
Yeah, because that's all the media want to focus on, like availability. Kevin Durant had 25 points, 8 rebounds. This kid, Wanambe, he had like 20 points. That's just literally ridiculous. And well, not really ridiculous, but it was enough to get this major win over a Portland Trail Blazers team that has the top record in the Western Conference, at least to start the season.
Well, yeah, this is what they need to develop, because I think that if Kyrie's not there now, this is the thing they need to do too. Those other guys need to step into position and find their part in their roles. And then if they can get everything back, I guess eventually on top of the Simmons situation because his health, they don't have to do so much. Like, you got to sometimes rely or defer on your other guys. That'll make the team, because we know Kevin Durant is so phenomenal. We know Kyrie's so phenomenal. We know what they're gonna get and do and bring to the table, but they can get things more easier if they defer to guys as well more too, and that's more at Kyrie Irving, where sometimes I feel like as phenomenal as he is as an offensive player, he just needs to distribute that ball a little bit more. And I think the fact that he's so great at creating shots, he should be easily in a position to create shots for other people. But and it would make their life easier when other guys can step up and just do things, and you don't have to exert all your energy all the time because you got guys in good spots. So with Neal doing well, Claxton's, the gentleman you named, when I'll be for the night, you want to see those guys do well, so that when the big dogs come back, you got quality role players on your basketball team. We'll see.
Yeah, exactly. When you got Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and Ben Simmons as your big three, you expect Brooklyn to do well. You expect them to be one of the top teams in the Eastern Conference. It just didn't happen at this moment because, to start the season, they're just feeling each other out because, Ben Simmons sat out the entire year because he chose to until he got traded down. Even when he finally got traded to Brooklyn, he sat out the rest of those games as well. Right now, he's just coming back. He slowly but surely rediscovered himself. He had literally 16 points and 10 boards tonight. And he made key free throws when Portland decided to do a hack of Ben. He even made some key plays on the inside. So when you look at the way Ben Simmons developed his game, slowly getting back to be the Ben Simmons that we do and love, that's going to help Brooklyn, especially when they have to have this brief pit stop against the Memphis Grizzlies before having to go on the road again.
Exactly. We just hope that Ben finally, eventually gets his feet underneath him, because when if can anything back to what he was before, he's such a dynamic threat. And that's why it's like, so, and he's been out for so while too, so we got to be patient. It's just the way he went out. Sometimes it's so hard to be patient, but we have to remember that. That's why sometimes we're upset when he's just concerned about the offense or the jump shooting. He does so many other things so great at a high level that I wish sometimes that if he would just stop thinking about that offense and just play, just guard at a high level, rebound at a high level, defend, shot block, assist, steal. Those other stuff will happen. As a basketball player, you're going to get 4 or 5 layups here and there, which will get you 10 points. Don't concentrate on that so much while you're getting back. Just go hard and all out with everything else. And I think over time, those certain things will come back. But, a lot of the times it's not physical, it's mental. And I think that's one of the biggest things that with games like tonight, these are the games that you can see that maybe slowly, mentally, he's shying away from that. And now you need a consistent path of it. You have 4 or 5 games of doing something like that and then feeling good. And then it may be in a 3-week span, you do it a few times. Now you get away from that bad nostalgia and you just start being yourself. So it's just time, and he needs to get, his feet wet back again.
Exactly. I mean, you mentioned shot with patience, emphasis on shots with patience.
With patience, there you go.
The sweater that you're wearing right there, I gotta admit, that's a very nice shot with patience sweater. I mean, the Ben Simmons is literally shooting with patience up until this point.
Wait, boy, I tell you, hit that one on the bud. He's being very strategic with his shooting. But yes, and shout out to Coach Dre and Uncle Dre. I call with Team Underrated and Shots with a Patience with year 2 with his group. They definitely make great material. This is a great hoodie. I appreciate them for this one. This one is pretty cool. So, but Ben Simmons is definitely a shot with patience at this moment. You hit that one on the bud.
Yeah, that is also true. And you want to know who else is? You want to know who else? What else is shot with patience? And not even just this one player himself. It's a certain team that I said the last time you were on the show that that I expect them to have at least 2 wins on this road trip. This team already has 2 wins, and they only played 2 games on this road trip. They beat the Utah Jazz. And they finally ended a 14-game road losing streak. It used to be called the Pepsi Center. The last time the Knicks wanted that building, now it's called Ball Arena. I don't know why they call it that, but whatever. The Knicks finally get a win against the Denver Nuggets at Denver, Colorado. So, what are your thoughts on the past 3 games of the New York Knicks, in which they redeemed themselves from that pitiful loss Sunday afternoon against Oklahoma City Thunder?
This is just the absolute damn epitome of this inconsistent, irrational, unpredictable team to ever. They torment my life as a New Yorker. I mean, they torment me so bad that I can't even. Rafique, would I tell you? Remember that song with Marcus Houston? He said, "I got my ice box where my heart used to be." Remember?
No, actually, that was Omarion that sung that song.
I'm the same. Excuse me, Marcus Houston, Omarion. Oh Lord, Omarion. Yes, the ice box.
How can you forget that song, man? You went through the millennials. You know that song, fam.
Exactly. Well, listen. It's better off that I know the verse. I couldn't get the artist. Down. That I have put my heart so much into the Knicks and got pulverized too much that I can't do it no more. The Knicks, I always bring up that other expression with your mom being a crackhead and so on and so forth. Here's my other expression with them. The Knicks to me is like your wife that you've been married to for 10 years, and you might argue every day, but you've been married for 10 years. So you're not going anywhere, and you just stay married, and you're just content with the life. And it's like you don't get upset. You're married, and it's you cannot put your heart into this team. The minute you do, they shot it right down. So when you think they're supposed to win, yeah. Why would you beat Oklahoma at home on a Sunday? Why? Why would you beat that team, right? Even though, no disrespect to Oklahoma. Shai Gilgeous is playing at a high level right now.
He shot against the Wizards yesterday.
Oh my goodness. Did he ever? I mean, he is, wow, Team Canada. And if the Knicks ever do eventually get that kid in a trade, boy, he is raw. But Giddey's playing very well with them down there. The younger kids are playing. Dort is defending at a high level. Made a great defensive play to end the game last night. And think about it. Chet Holmgren hasn't even played, and God forbid if they ever get Victor Wembanyama. So that's a whole different conversation. But that's still a team that they're supposed to be at home. No, don't do that. They let them score like 170,000 points on you, and then you lose horrifically. And then if you look at the first quarter, the Knicks in the first quarter killed them. The second quarter, they let Oklahoma score 42 points in the second quarter. I mean, it's just not acceptable at home.
What do you think they redeemed the Jazz and Nuggets?
And that's it. Thank you for bringing that up. How do I evaluate this team? This is why I told my guy they're a 7 through 11 seed. You don't know how to predict on this team. They will lose to Oklahoma at home, but then come back and beat a very good Utah Jazz team that's played very good at home all game this year with their role players. Now Denver,
without Jokic.
There you go. So you beat Denver in Denver for the first time in a while, but without Jokic. Rafique, look
if
me in
Jokic
my eyes.
was playing, I'm thinking.
All right, thank you.
Jokic was playing. This guy's a 2-time MVP in the NBA. If he was playing, we probably. Even if we would got the Knicks would have got slaughtered at Pepsi Center. It's so hard to play in that high altitude.
All right, let's be fair, right?
Think about this. Is on top of the game.
Let's be fair. We won last night. We beat Denver though in Denver, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they did it without Jokic, right? Mm-hmm. So we know what happens if Jokic is there. The Knicks were down 10 points going into the fourth quarter. They had to come back.
Yes.
So they were losing to the Denver Nuggets without Jokic. If Jokic is there, what happens?
With the 15 or 20.
Jokic is a walking triple-double. So if he's there, we lose that basketball game. This is why it's hard for me to evaluate them. Lose to Oklahoma at home, get obliterated. No disrespect to Oklahoma. Beat Utah in Utah, have no business winning the Utah game, and beat them, and then beat Denver without Jokic. So somebody's going to jump on my timeline and say, yeah, we beat Denver. The Knicks is good. So if they lose the next game, then what the hell are they going to tell me? They got Phoenix after they got Phoenix on the road trip.
They got the Golden State Warriors and they got the Phoenix Suns. After
They can get the Warriors.
The road trip against. I'm not even gonna say when they close it out. Okay, go ahead. They lost to them last Sunday.
Yes. Oh, and then they play. Oh yeah, they play the Oklahoma City Celtics from the 1970s. So Shy Gallas will have 70 that day probably. But the Warriors game, they can get the. What's going on with Golden State and what's going on?
The Warriors are 0-8 on the road. They come on. At home, they're doing what they gotta do at home. They 0-8 on the road.
That's bad.
But they're shooting with patience. I'm sorry, I can't stop it.
That is great. They need more than patience on the road. They need to take their
even the Orlando Magic got to win against the Warriors.
Oh my goodness, they did. Wow.
I'll circle it. Yeah, man. You know what? It's early in the season. It's still early. We talking about those teams like as if we're already in the month of April, and it's still early.
But nevertheless, you're right.
This 2-game winning streak.
100%.
I bet you if they were to go 5-0 on this road trip, it will be a totally different conversation. But you know what? Let's take it step by step and focus on getting the win in Golden State. We should win that game. We won 3 years. I told you, we won 3 games in a row in that building. We should get that win.
Hopefully they get a win tomorrow. Listen, not poo-poo. They can't do nothing about the schedule. They just play the games.
If I'm a New York Knicks fan, I mean, which I am, even though I got the Brooklyn Nets t-shirt on, I would be happy to get any exciting victory that we could get because
100%.
Forget the narrative behind that behind the victories and the losses. I mean, obviously, being a Knicks fan, you're happy that the wins even happen anyway because you don't want the Knicks to be predictably bad.
No, definitely not. I definitely don't want to just see them be abysmal. But I think you're right that, let's not poo-poo on it. They have
unless they're taking for Victor Wembanyama, you don't want them to be bad. You really don't.
No. I can't deal with Willie Rogers. I can't deal with that one mentally. And listen, they have something to build off. You're right. They have something to build off. And tomorrow, or now being today, as Friday is a winnable game tonight. Mm-hmm. Even though Warriors play better at home, but they can get that game and see. But you take the wins how you can, especially in the Eastern Conference, where I think that the Eastern Conference is really good. So I think a lot of teams are going to be jostling against each other in the bottom pack. So you got to try to find as many victories as you can, especially when you do on both sides. So far this year, teams that were expected to do well off top are kind of having a struggling time. So this is the time, like, Miami, Philly still in the pack, close with us too. We expected them to be better, but they're dealing with some injuries as well. Even though, did Joel Embiid just have like 50-something points the other day?
Yes, he did.
Oh my goodness!
He went off of 50. He went off of 50 points at home.
Oh my goodness! So I mean, this is why
I was wearing my Philadelphia jersey. I was wearing my. If you didn't watch the episode I posted with Ashley Baker, who's on the show, I was wearing my Philadelphia 76ers jersey in the last one.
Somebody said it to me. It's so crazy. As much as I have disdain for Philadelphia teams per se, and it's just a New York Philadelphia thing. I'm a big Embiid fan. I'm a big Joel Embiid fan, and it's so crazy. I make a lot of trips to Philadelphia because my college was in PA, and we have strong roots close to Philadelphia, and so on and so forth. So I go back to visit a lot of the colleges, just hang out. I love the city of Philadelphia, actually, excluding the sports teams. I told you I could live in Philadelphia. I have no problem with Philadelphia, the historical significance of the city. But I went to many Sixers games, and every time we would go down there, I'd make sure I go to a Sixers game. It's a very hard ticket to get in Philadelphia because they do sell out, and their fans are very loyal, especially when they're competitive. So I got one of my partners came out of the house, and he came to, and he's like, "Yo, you got a Philadelphia 76ers cup? What's up, man? You're
I keep a 76ers jersey in my house with Allen Iverson. I know you watched the episode while I was wearing.
Yeah, I told him. I said I went to a few games, so when you purchase a beer or soda,
I
you
watched
get
the
collector's cup.
I watched the New York Knicks 86ers in real life before when they came to the Garden and barely and I believe it was the one where Marbury missed the game-winning 3-pointer. That was the only time I saw the 76ers in real life.
Wow. Well,
But
no, everything's Knicks are doing well off that. Good way to bounce back, get some good victories. It's always hard to win on the road, and hopefully they can just keep it up,
Okay. Now, let's see. On to some sad news happening in sports. You had 3 Virginia football players that were gunned down tragically earlier this week. I mean, when you watch those type of shooting stories happen involving athletes like the guys from the Virginia, like what went through your mind?
Well, I didn't. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't go in depth on it, but I did hear about the story and know about it. But it's just it's sad, of course. Oh man, a lot of the other stuff that you hear about, like how things occurred with it, is just really sad. You just really feel bad for the families. It's bad too when your kid is successful and does well in school and gets a Division I scholarship or whatever, playing collegiate football, and you expect your kid to have a good and promising life, and to get that call and to hear something like that is got to be devastating. That's going to be very alarming for the university and for the players for the rest of the year. So it's just really sad.
Yeah, it's always sad when athletes get cut short. I mean, you've seen a lot of athletes get gunned down or accidentally killed off in the basketball community. And so when you think about that, you think about this situation, it's always sad that athletes' life gets cut short, or any human being life gets cut short.
Gets cut short.
Forget what type of life you have. I mean, it's never a good thing.
It's not at all. It's not. It's just very sad.
Rest in peace to all the Virginia athletes that got bodied this past week.
It's tough.
All right. Now to bring back the energy a little bit, as the Tennessee, you know what? Green Bay Packers is just something else. I mean, I talked about this with Ashley on the show. Why do you think I start the episode with Ashley saying you Cowboys choked? What? Every other team, now the Tennessee Titans have beaten the Green Bay Packers, but the Cowboys couldn't beat them, and they were up by 14. I mean, the Packers, what are your thoughts on the way the Packers played out this week, from coming from behind to beat the Cowboys on a overtime field goal to lose to Tennessee Titans, the team that our Giants defeated? It got you thinking the Packers giving fans false hopes after all that.
Oh man, here goes the real evaluation of the eye test with the Packers. They're just not a good football team. They're not a good football team. Rodgers is one of the greatest quarterbacks we ever played football. Hall of Famer, Super Bowl champ, still at one of the elites in this league. But he hasn't played well this year. I mean, for his standards, per se. I'm not going to blame everything on him. It's not just him. They're not – and it just seems like something is not there as they're learning each other. He's still trying to develop the niche with the receivers. They're getting better. Even the gentleman last week that scored touchdowns to help them win the game, you know how many drops he had before he started scoring the touchdowns? And it's something is not clicking there. They have never all been on the same page, and their level.
It has something to do with the fact that Devontae Adams went to the Raiders, who
right
do any better.
Yeah, and even though that has something to do with it too, and it's huge because clearly Rodgers would just throw the ball up to him and he would just catch whatever, right? But that's one guy and a receiver too, So it's like the defense, and then why is Green Bay not running the ball more? Run the ball. You see what those guys have and they don't run it enough. I'll have to look into the numbers to see what their running numbers were tonight. But if they weren't giving these guys, if Jones didn't have 20 carries tonight, something's wrong. If the other guy didn't have 10, 15, they need to be running the football. I don't know what else they need to say. I think their season is over. So Minnesota is really good, and they're running away with that division, running away. And this loss, even though it equates the same, the fact that they won and just lost in the span of 4 days doesn't help them. So they're in trouble. That Packers team is not that good. The receivers need to figure it out. And then even too, Van Der Scatling, who they had, who's on Kansas City. It's not the same core. Tennessee is a really solid team. They're playing better football. And it's crazy. The Giants beat both of those teams. So they're not and that's why it was sad that the Cowboys lost to them. Excuse me, putting this up. Because I'm so sorry. Yeah. The Cowboys is a huge deal. How do you lose to this team and you're up 14 points? That defense that you have was supposed to stop it. But that goes to
But let's not forget the Cowboys running defense sucks.
100%. But when all right, let's get this straight. Tennessee's good, so we're not going to do that to them. Did the Packers lose to the Washington Commanders?
No, I mean,
yes, they did. 27-22. They lost to the Giants. They lost to the Jets. You see the theme I'm going on with here? That the Green Bay Packers are not a good football team. So for them to do that, Jay, how good is the Cowboys really?
Exactly. This is the same Green Bay Packers that was once on about like a 5-game losing streak. They lost to Buffalo. They lost to the Detroit Lions. They lost. Well, damn, son. I mean, they got blasted by Minnesota to start the season. So yeah.
God bless.
Typical Green Bay Packers. It just. Yeah, there's always a lot of talk.
They don't have to worry about it. They got the Milwaukee Bucks. The people of Milwaukee can cheer for Antetokounmpo.
Yeah, I mean, season ago the Bucks were champions, so yeah, there's that.
Football not working this year, not out there.
Yeah. Speaking of football not working, well, we kind of already touched upon the Washington Commanders earlier this week during this conversation as they pull off an upset win, defeated the Philadelphia Eagles on Monday Night Football. So with the Commanders defeating the Philadelphia Eagles, does this give the Giants a chance to win this division?
It does mathematically. I don't know if they still do. It's such an uphill battle, but it does. But I'll tell you this much. If the Giants, mathematically, of course, they have a chance. And here goes a crazy thing. Mathematically, they have a chance to have the best record in the NFL, in the NFC, if things can sort of stay on course with it is. And they play the teams, the two top teams ahead of them, record-wise, they play them respectively this year. So they have an impact to really control their destiny in a year where we're supposed to be so rebuilding, and they're just getting better and more confident as the games go by. So they play Minnesota later in the year. Minnesota is going to be a tough team to beat. Minnesota is really good. You know, I talked about that. We talked about that so many times. So we respect the Vikings. They are hellacious on the defensive end. They are loaded with offensive talent. So, but we do play them directly. So the Giants have their destiny in their hands. If they're ever going to have a chance of winning the division and actually having bigger than that in the NFC, I'm telling you right now, remember I said this, it's going to happen in these next week. You know, I'm going to the game on Sunday against the Detroit Lions. This week will be the biggest indication if they really can get the NFC East. Because if you can beat the Lions are a really good offensive team. So let me say this on this show. We can lose this game this week. The Lions can score points, okay? They give up a lot of points too. So that's what we have to hang our heads on. But if they can beat the Lions, and I predicted the Cowboys game to be a loss for us, so let me get that on the record too. But if they can beat the Lions and they beat the Cowboys, wow, look what you got here now. That means you can go to 8-2, and then if you beat the Cowboys, you go to 9-2, so you get 2 wins in the span of 4 days. And you would just hope that – who did the Eagles play this week?
The Colts.
The Colts. So you would just hope, even if the Eagles get back on track and win, you play the Eagles 2 times. So you have an impact on your destiny. And I think, if I'm not mistaken now, I believe the Eagles and the Giants play the last game of the season.
Yes, they do.
So do you see how this can pan out if things work a certain way? They just need to continue to keep doing what they're doing. And once again, I'm on record. I am so happy and proud to be a Giants fan. I predict them to be 7-10. They have overachieved in my eyes. So everything that continues to happen is good. I got one of the guys in the back that was like, "Oh, y'all better win this week." I said, "Would you stop it and shut up your damn mouth? Okay? Don't start putting us on no hiatus like we're the favorite team now. So now all of a sudden, with us being 7-2, now, oh yeah, we're supposed to beat the Lions. Stop it. That's a bunch of crap. We're still a young team. We're building and going through things too. We have some guys that are out. Our tight end is out with the injury. He's not going to be back for about 2 weeks.
There's more to rebuilding than losing. Rebuilding than purposely having a losing record, hoping that you get the best players in next year's draft. There's more 100%. To rebuilding. Rebuilding teams, they can surprise you and have a good year and build on that one later year where they can have one of the best records in the NFC, and then next year they're probably not going to be as good, but still compete for a playoff spot. They're going to have after this season. They're going to have expectations to get better.
Oh, I think you just took every word out of my mouth. You just said everything perfect. That was the perfect soliloquy. You can rebuild and still be good. And that's why I always tell arrogant Eagle fans, arrogant Cowboy fans, stop looking at your name and then just say, yeah, we're going to win this week. We're going to beat them. It doesn't work like that. This is the NFL. If you don't prepare right week by week, you will lose. You will lose.
Without question.
You got to prepare. You see how Brian Daboll prepared the Giants this week?
Mm-hmm.
He was like, guys, this could be a trap game. Don't underestimate the Houston Texans. Don't. They played the Eagles very competitively. They were down by 2 points going into the fourth quarter. And the Texans played 6 games this year where they've lost by a differential of 3 to 7 points. They're playing hard. They're competing. You talk about, look how a game of inches. Giants had games last year where they lost many of them by 3 to 7 points and had with 3 and something. And now this year, they're the ones winning those close games. Our plus differential in wins like that is +6. In the top teams, though, +6. The other ones with the winning differential, +50, +60, +70, +30, +6. So that makes you know that winning the close games, you beat Tennessee. Tennessee missed the field goal at the end of the game.
And I was excited about that. It was exciting for us.
Right? You beat the Bears. That was a close game. The Bears were driving down. I think we had to stop the Bears on the 1 yard line.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Or something like that, right? Is that the game, right? I'm getting that one correct?
Yeah,
all right.
You got that one correct. They beat the Carolina Panthers on a field goal.
On a field goal.
And they need a defensive stop on the other side just to get that victory.
Just to get the victory.
They had to come from behind to beat a struggling Green Bay Packers.
They had to beat the Packers.
Baltimore. You know I'm
correct.
Jackson is. They're the only franchise that beat the Giants in the Super Bowl. But we're not going to talk about that.
Right. Jacksonville game. The Jacksonville game was close. They had to do things.
The Giants struggled against Jacksonville, but we got lucky.
Right. I'll take it.
But we struggled against them.
So you can't come out.
The Texans, but got a lucky win.
Anybody in America that thinks that the Giants have a guaranteed win this week because they play the Lions, please do yourself a favor. Go play in traffic and cut it out. It's not a guaranteed win. They must do the necessary things in order to win. And I tell you like this will be the biggest test so far defensively for the Giants. Because remember, I told you this.
Live in person.
Yes, I'll be right there to watch it in person in a sweltering cold 28-degree damn day with wind swirling in Jersey. So I will have my bubble coat on with my Giants hoodie, shirt, and everything, and like 3 thermals. And I will have a lot of hot chocolate and a lot of Hennessy because it's going to be cold. Okay? So, but but I will be there for that one, and we'll see what happens. But it's no guaranteed win. They have to do the necessary things, or they will lose that football game.
Listen, nothing's guaranteed in life, especially in sports. I mean, sure. I mean, we play this reverse. We can continue playing this reverse psychology, hoping that it actually leads to a championship at this point.
100%. So at this point, we stink, and I still want to be 7-10. That's what I keep telling myself.
Well, you want it to be 7. Well, you could probably be 8-2 after. Well, you have a chance of being 2 after this week, or 9-2 after Thanksgiving Day. So let's just see what happens. And yeah, I mean, I already made my picks with Ashley Baker. I mean, you already know what I'm picking the last episode if you watch my interview with her. But obviously, I want you. Well, I want your picks for the Falcons and the Bears.
The Bears.
Buffalo and Cleveland. Yeah. But to give you an update, the game is not going to be played in Buffalo because the inches of snow is going to be crazy up in Western New York. So they're going to move that to Detroit. While the Lions are in your house, Buffalo is going to be in theirs. So they're going to be at Ford Field against the Browns. The last time they had to play there, they blasted the New York Jets.
Yeah, I like the Bills to get their swag back. But I'm concerned too. I don't know. I'm starting to get worried about Josh Allen. I don't think he's as healthy, and I know he's probably trying to gut through it. Hopefully, the shoulder's all right. I want to pick the Bills so bad, but I'm going to pick the Bills still. But I'm concerned about Josh Allen's arm.
Yeah, that's true. Eagles, Colts.
Philadelphia gets back on their schneid, but I would not be happy if the Colts. I would not be mad if the Colts could upset me and let them get a win this week. But yeah, I think Philadelphia gets back.
Jets, Patriots. Now, I mean, well, the Jets already had a week off, but I got the Jets winning this time around. They should get this victory in Foxborough. It's not going to be easy considering Zach Wilson's interception prone against the Patriots, but they're going to get. I predict to get this one. Well, if you haven't watched the last episode, I mean, obviously my picks is different, but I'm kind of back and forth. But who do you think's going to win this one?
Man, this one is very tough for me. I want the Jets to win so bad, so I think I'm going to say New England so that I could be wrong and have reverse psychology, like you said. I'm going to pick New England only because I really want the Jets to win. I want them to beat this mental barrier. I do. I want them to
reverse psychology is in the paper all year long in 2022.
Yes.
I know.
We have to. They need to beat that mental barrier. And here's the biggest thing too, Feek. The Jets have no chance if Zach Wilson can't play well, period. Like, this is a week where we can't rely on him being young and rebuilding. We need a Zach Wilson potential, what we think you are going to be game this week. This has to be a statement game for Zach. If he cannot play well, they're not going to win this football game. They will not win the football game because it's not going to be easy to play in Foxborough. And on top of that, they already have that mental thing over you. And New England thinks that they're better than the Jets. They think they're going to win this game. So I just, Zach Wilson. He is the key for them winning. If Brees was there, Mr. Hall, their running back, even though their backup is playing so solid, but it's really up to Zach. If he don't play well, they're not going to win.
Rams, Saints. I mean, I might pick the Saints to win this one only because it's tough to win in the Superdome.
Yeah, I'm going to go Saints. I'm not too great on none of those teams, but the Rams are absolutely abysmal in the shell of themselves, and they continue to keep getting hurt.
They played horrible against the Cardinals last weekend.
Yeah, they stink, and they're decimated by injuries now, so they're still Super Bowl drunk. I hope they have their trophy shined up because they're done this year. They're done.
Lions, Giants. I'm picking the Giants to win this one.
I'm picking our Giants as well, too. I don't think we'll cover the spread. They have us by 4.5. I have us exactly winning by 3 points. So, I am picking the Giants. I think we'll be fine this week. As scared I am, as concerned as I am about the Lions offense, because Jared Goff, always plays well against the Giants, and he can move the football, and he has a lot of amazing targets offensively, and their running back can make plays too. So this is a big week for the Giants defensively. We've always been there to step up to the gun. The defense actually has played well all year, even in the losses. So the defense is what we hang our hat on, and I'm pretty sure Judge is gonna. Joe Judge. He didn't do well. He stunk, and I'm thinking about Judge for the Yankees, and that's a whole different story. But
congratulations on him winning the MVP, by the way, for the American.
Yes, MVP, Big Bronx, and hopefully we can get him to come sign back here. And that's a whole different topic as well too, for another time and moment. But hopefully we'll have a good game plan, and I got the Giants winning without a doubt. Defensively, we'll take care of what our business.
Ravens, Panthers. Well, obviously the Ravens are going to win this one. That's not even worth talking about because Carolina, outside of the wins against the NFC North, they suck.
The Carolina Panthers are terrible. The Ravens will win the football game, even though I like their young kid.
Commanders, Texas. Well, I got the Commanders. Well, Commanders are going to come in hot after their upset win over the Eagles. So
Texans will play them very tough, and they will compete. But I do have the Redskins. Oh Lord. I have the Commanders winning the football game in this one. Washington's playing better football, guys. They're playing better football the last few weeks. And here goes the biggest thing. You know why they've had their biggest turnaround? It's hard to say it. But Tyler Heineke's playing very good football for them at the quarterback. He's showing what they should have always had him playing from off top, especially from what he did from the year before. But Heineke's playing solid for them, giving them good stuff for McLaurin and the guys. The defense is competing. They'll be very competitive. I'm very confident after that. And this might sound scary too. The Redskins are not out of the division race.
Yeah, the Commanders are not. Yeah, you said
Washington Commanders are not out the football team. Pardon me.
Yeah, they're really not. And you know what? All four of the NFC East teams can make it to the playoffs, but that's a subject I already talked about in the last episode. But yeah, Raiders, Broncos. Well, who you got?
I have to pick a team for that game?
Yeah, you don't have to. They both suck.
Tie. Oh my goodness. I guess Russell because they playing tie.
Cowboys, Vikings. Well, I mean, you already know my pick in last episode if you didn't watch it, but obviously it might change, but let's see what happens.
Let's go, Purple Eaters. Help us, please. Please beat the Cowboys. Please, Purple Eaters. Please, Kirk Cousins, play your best game of your life.
This will be a redemption year for the loss of the Cowboys last year.
Correct.
Bengals, Steelers.
It's just tough. Pittsburgh's been competing very well the last few weeks.
Yeah, they smoked the Saints. I know.
They've been playing well. Pickett, the young kid, is starting to come into a little bit of his own. But I'll go Cincinnati. I think Cincinnati gets them.
Chiefs.
Slightly.
Chiefs, Chargers. And here's the interesting part about this matchup. If the Chiefs lose and the Jets win, the Jets can get the number one seed in the AFC. Think about that.
Wow.
With Miami on bye week, why not? I would welcome the Jets getting the number one seed in the AFC.
You know what? I'm going to pick the Chiefs, but it would be cool if the Jets could be the number one seed for a week. Why not? So let's see how that equation goes. But I'll pick the Chiefs by a slight margin.
49ers, Cardinals.
The Niners.
Yeah. Well, that wraps up this episode. Nothing but that sports talk. And unfortunately, if you didn't notice, I couldn't do my live interview with Kemi Simmons that advertised on my social media this week. I mean, obviously, I hope whatever is going on with her does well. I mean, if you see social media, we all know. I mean, you probably get an idea why she couldn't make it to the interview. But yeah, I'm not getting
100%.
It's nothing like that. But whatever happened. I wish her the best, and the interview will happen. And
100%.
Yeah, that'll wrap up this episode. Nothing but that sports talk. Thank you for stopping by, Ryan. Continue to shoot with patience and continue doing the announcing that you do in Long Island. And to all the ballers out there, get your head in the game.
New York Court King Saturday. Big game.